Now let's get to Chris Versace. He's with us, Chief Investment Officer at Tematica Research. Well, we have the Biden administration at the helm now, and they want to get some more stimulus checks out to the folks. So what stocks can benefit more than others as we see a new administration in place? What are your thoughts about 2021?
Wow, those are a lot of questions, Nicole. Nice to see you. Let's take Biden stimulus first, shall we? So 1.9 trillion is the expected number. $1,400 checks expected to be cut. Does have to make it through Congress, and that's going to be the key determinant, I think. Today's the first day in office, and I think investors are going to wait and see not only how does Biden address, rolling out and hitting his 100 million vaccine pledge, but also how long is it going to take for that 1.9 trillion to get through Congress, as I said, and in what form does it actually come out? Assuming if we get $1,400 checks, odds are we have some pent-up spending that consumers will look to, spend. So where are they going to probably do that? Obviously, given the pandemic continuing to continue, beneficiaries will remain the winners that we saw in the back half of 2020. Simply those companies that have embraced digital shopping. Of course, to you and I, that means, Amazon, Walmart, Target as well. I would also suggest that folks consider the second derivative, as I like to call it, from the shift to digital shopping. That's UPS. Why? Simply because these things have to get to where they're going. And for most people, that means UPS.
Yeah, you make a great point with that. I see what you're talking about. I think that you also had some groceries as part of that as well, right? A name like Kroger, for example, was on your list, and Colgate and Conagra. Tell me a little bit about how this all rolls into some of these staples and things that we need.
Sure. So, one of the things that we know is that stimulus payments really ended for the most part, at the end of last summer. So, consumers have been, kind of stretching out. Obviously, there's going to be a need to restock. And we do like those, as you call them, those, consumer staple stocks, whether it's going to be, paper products, house cleaners, body care, personal care products. Those are going to be great. Those are also dividend payers that can help on the income side. And Procter & Gamble simply shot out the lights yesterday and raised their organic growth forecast for the coming year. Again, tied to the very things that we're talking about. So when we think about competitors of Procter & Gamble, you mentioned Colgate, that's certainly one. And remember, too, the need to replenish these supplies are also good things for not only Amazon, but Walmart, Costco as well.
Right. Chris, it's interesting because I know that you are talking about the gig workers, right? And for Uber and Lyft, this has been to court so many times. Are they going to be treated more like full-time employees or more like someone who's working for the day and they don't get all the benefits and everything? And so we might have a shift in what the mantra is out of Washington with Biden at the helm. At the same time, one of our earlier guests said that a Keystone now has a tombstone. So I know you're watching Uber and Lyft and the gig worker economy. You could also add in energy and how that play may too change based on the change in the administration.
No, I think that's right. I think one of the key things that we're going to have to watch is overall regulation. There is some chatter out of Washington. The Biden administration is going to have effectively a regulatory czar of sorts that'll be overseeing things. So that means everything from changing regulations on minimum wage. Biden has talked about a $15 minimum wage, which could ripple through. And on the one hand, put some incremental cash in pockets. When we've seen minimum wage increases like this, it more often than not tends to lead to a shift towards unemployment as employers try to do more with less. But you are right. When we look at other areas, certainly technology, I think Section 230 is going to be another item that gets rekindled in 2021. Biden was vocally against it when he was on the campaign trail. And I do think that, again, regulation in general, tech, right when it comes to the environment, a lot of those are going to come back into vogue. And remember, too, this is also going to be part of Biden really undoing some of the regulatory rollbacks that President Trump instilled in his first days of office.
I think it was interesting when you mentioned about $15 minimum wage, where I see Yellen's making some comments that it can be absorbed. At the same time, so many small businesses have said, or different businesses, I mean, I don't know if it's fast food or whatever, saying, look, if you have to raise the minimum wage, we're going to just have fewer workers. It just sounded like you said something like that, that maybe some jobs are lost when you have a higher minimum wage.
Well,
Can you just
you have to remember
expand on that and how some companies
Sure.
may actually suffer if you raise the minimum wage?
Sure. So if you take a look around over the last 2, 3 years, there's been a lot of talk about moving state minimum wages higher. And the average state minimum wage now is around $12. So if we see a $15 minimum hourly wage enacted, odds are we're going to see some, gravity towards that at the state level. That's going to mean, as you correctly pointed out, a lot of incremental pressure for companies that hire and employ hourly workers. So, let's think about retailers, for example. That's going to be hard hit at a time when those businesses are already struggling. Think about fast food restaurants, whether it's, McDonald's, Wendy's, or even Starbucks, right? They're all going to see at the margin incremental cost. And as I said before, when faced with that, they try to do more with less. And there's a lot that they can try and do now, particularly employing technology to really circumvent the loss in headcount. So it's going to be an interesting challenge for the economy, depending on what we see.
Yeah, and I hope it doesn't backfire, because I want people to have jobs, and I'd love to pay them $20 an hour. But you got to, as you said, you're trying to do as much as you can with what you have, and sometimes that could mean some jobs lost, but we'll see how it goes. Chris Versace, thank you so much. Great conversation. Chief Investment Officer at Tematica Research.